Hello and welcome to the legendary world of Minecraft Legends. This is the Legends of Minecraft podcast. And I'm Kaboom, here with
Hound 4004.
Hey Hound. How are you doing, sir?
It is a legendary day. Second podcast in a row with some legendary updates and other stuff this week, too.
Yes, I did not expect to be talking to you so soon.
I
But it is a
know.
pleasure always to get a chance to talk to you about Legends.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a second update, and it's that time of the month again with a brand new Lost Legends. So I'm excited to talk about some of this new stuff.
Yes, and after seeing some of your videos, I'm excited to hear you talk about some of this stuff. So I am looking forward to getting into both the update and the Lost Legends, the Crucible, and getting to have a good conversation about them today.
Yeah, for sure. If I can kick it off with the new update, and I know that we both did update videos on our channel, and our channels, of course, are always linked in the description below. So if you want to check out our videos, feel free to. So this we will be discussing here though the 1.17.49848, which is for all devices except for Nintendo Switch, which is 1.17.50310. Don't you love those numbers?
I love numbers.
Well, since you've been the PvPer, would you like to talk about the improved PvP communication tools?
I would love to do that. So the new update, world map markers and types of available world map markers have been expanded to allow for a more descriptive communication. On the map screen, you may cycle through the 4 types of markers. Attack. Hey, let's go attack the orange base. Defend. Let's defend the base. Gather. Let's gather at a swamp biome and have a little tea party. Default. Players' names was pinged. The swamp biome. New map marker messages will be displayed in the chat log to help attract your teammates' attention. This is incredible. This is awesome. I have really enjoyed this. I've been able to communicate with people in the game. I can be at so this is one of the roles that I'm using it as, and so I have to pull down the video I put up called Pings in Advanced Strategies because they totally destroyed that video. But it was for a good reason. They've done improvements to this communication system. So now when I'm over there at the piglin horde and I'm making bacon and I'm slaying the piglins up, I can go, hey, somebody build a creation of life or build a banner to have troops follow me. And then they'll come back and they'll go, no, we're building a redstone launcher. And I'll go, no, build the life. Stop doing redstone launches and rushes. And so it's been good. It's been really good. I'm kidding around, but usually a couple minutes later, they'll build that, and it's great. It saves me time of going back, and it makes the game overall a step closer to that next level that the game needs to be something that's one of those top strategy games. And I think it's really good how they've done it so far, because you can communicate, and yeah, someone might be able to troll, and do something, but overall though, it's a safe way to communicate. Minecraft doesn't have to worry about any kind of personal information, and I think as you learn to use these, it's going to become second nature in the game, and you're going to be able to hit it without thinking about it. And I've already found myself knowing oh, this, and then hey, I'm doing this, hey, I'm doing this, and that just lets everyone know what's up and what's happening. And one of the things I really love is, like, if there's no wood, you can go, hey guys, get wood. And sometimes that extra thing that pops up, people will be like, oh yeah, I need to get wood, I forgot to do that. because it always, for some reason, seems about 5 to 10 minutes in the game, people start forgetting to put out their allays to collect resources.
Yeah, I mean, and that sounds great for this use. And if I may, I've noticed now this is under PvP communication tools. However, something I noticed when making my update video is I actually was able to get these new menus on the campaign. And I thought of a use like, maybe you're in the middle of slashing some bacon out in the middle of a forest and it's like, oh crap, I need some stone or something, right? Well, I mean, it is a marker, and you could set even just for solo use, single player. You could set a marker, reminder for yourself. It's like, hey, when I'm done, doing whatever in the forest, like go over here, get some stone. It's not just,
Mm.
oh, I left myself a marker. What's over here again? Like, you can say, yeah, I want to go mine here later. I want to go, kill this bastion over here, this one first, leave the different markers. So it can also be a mental note for yourself, too.
Yeah, yeah, that's good stuff. I think this is so far might be one of the better updates overall to the game. And maybe they'll work on some stuff. I think in one of my videos I talked about having going to Discord and having communications like that. And that's the best if you can
Mm-hmm.
do that. But you also want something that's fair. You want something that everyone's doing. So if your other team's on mics, you want the other team you're playing to be on mics. At least personally, that's kind of how I feel. So I feel like this at least um, gives people an option to be able to communicate, and yeah, it's great.
A
I
hundred
really,
percent.
yeah.
Now, with some free self advertising to our sponsors, um, although this is a great change, the legendary Discord server is much liked, and we're able to post our podcast there. So even if you're not able to get into a group where you're able to talk with each other, you might be able to find our next podcast episode. But it still doesn't deny the fact that these in game way of chatting is good too.
Yeah, and our Discord server is growing. We've got some new people joining us, and I've been able to reach out and make contact with some new players. So I'm really excited about that. So we're growing, and we'd love to have you guys join us there. So in the lobby roles, I had to look this up because at first I was like, "What is going on here?" There's a giant mace, there's a pickaxe. I was a little confused. I hit the question mark looking for answers, but it realized it was a role that you could take on. So that even confused me even more. But after a little digging, I did find what those purposes are. And so you have the builder, which is going to be focused on building and defending your home base, which is a really good role, and which is something, if you watch my videos, I need to get better at, I will admit. You have the explorer, who's scouting for piglins, are the enemy team for information and gathering resources for your team. I'd also even add to this one that if you have this role, I would even say early griefing would probably be fall into that category also. I've noticed a lot of that. A lot of that has changed. We're getting, the buildings, little arrow towers with little forts or little, what do we call them in that other video?
Clubhouse, the clubhouse
Clubhouse
release.
is yes. We are getting clubhouses now outside of our bases very, very early in the game. And I feel like that's a role that's developing. So, anyways, that's just a couple of my thoughts on that. You got the fighter, whose primary focus is on attacking your team, um, which would also fall into the griefing and stuff like that. Um, so those two roles, I think those overlap a little bit, because you're going to be looking and gathering resources. So the explorer is a pickaxe, but in this game you don't really mine, and everyone needs to collect resources. So that's kind of why I threw that in there. I think the explorer and the fighter, both those roles kind of overlap. Uh, the Piglin Hunter, which is something that I do a lot, um, and that is getting the Prismarine and getting the Lapis for the early game, and being able to do that early. I really think it just is really the important part of the game. I mean, you've got to have people collecting Prismarine early and Lapis early, or you're just not going to tech up. So I'm glad that they have that role. I will have to give that role up at some time and work on some of my other skills in the game. But yeah, it's good. It's a good role. I've been taking that role on just to let everyone know, hey, I'm going to do this.
I was going to ask, have you yourself been using this, and have you seen other people also communicating in this way what they want to do and be?
I have, yes, I have. I may make a video and show some of that. But yes, I've been taking the Piglin Hunter, and then someone usually will take the building, and then someone will usually take the explorer. And so those are the three main roles I've seen filled so far in the games that I've played. And I think it's good. Uh, those roles usually have a tendency to change during the game, depending on just what's happening. But it gives you a foundation to say, as soon as we get in this game, because when it gets into seconds and minutes mattering between victory and defeat, it allows you to go. I'm gonna go do this, and everyone has their main role, and so you don't have to sit around for like a couple minutes and be like, "Is it okay to leave? I don't know." And then you get over there and you hear your base is being attacked, and then you're like, oh no, and there's like 50 piglins having a party on your tower, and no one's built. And so I have found them very helpful.
Nice. Well, and this is technically being called the first major update since release. And if I can go ahead and go over to custom game options, it really is showing that they're caring about the focus of your playthrough. I remember, everyone was saying, they finished the game within the first day of it being released and then said, well, there's nothing, I've done it. Well, now guess what? This gives more in the PvP, with the last section you just read. But then what I think is going to be a huge win for all Legends players who's already played through the campaign, which is the custom game option, which is the custom world, which you can add to campaign and versus. Now, if you're adding it to the campaign, it is still meant that you play it as intended first. You make one of these custom campaign worlds, and you will not get the tutorial at the beginning, but it will allow you, after you've played through the game and you've gotten familiar with how everything works. These custom game options allow you to go in, change up the size, change how the piglins react, change how big the world is, how many resources there are. And, that's just campaign. It creates a whole new experience for you. And with Legends campaign, with the campaign, you can also do this if you're a host. I remember one of your videos, where's the stone? Because there was no stone in the world.
Yeah.
And I think back to that, and it's like, you want some stone? You can make it all stone. I mean, you can really have fun in these custom worlds and make it how you want. You think it's too easy for people to get wood? This is how you can start out by removing all the trees, starting with a brand new PvP in the custom world. It just really, it's a complete game changer. Changes it up, makes your run through unique. This custom game options is going to be a big reviver. For people who's already played it through and says, well, now what? Well, now make it unique. Give it a good experience for yourself.
Oh yeah, the thing that's going to be awesome about this, just think about the possibilities of having a challenge map. I mean, how many games have like, one block challenges, or, only use this resource in this challenge, and I'm thinking of 7 Days to Die. I see lots of videos come out where they have these specialized challenges, and so you could go in and I'm looking forward to maybe making up some challenges, setting it up and play a game and then having other people do that challenge and see if they can do it better or quicker. And for me, I had that one challenge. How fast could you destroy the AI base on a regular map? But that was really the only challenge I could come up with at that time. This kicks the door open. This is like the entrance of Hulk Hogan into the WWE wrestling match of customizability to game maps in the world. And it's really going to be cool. And I can't wait to see what's just some of the community people out there, what they can do with these tools to come up with some really cool challenges.
Exactly.
So we're gonna have to work on that. See if maybe we can come up with a campaign challenge.
Yeah, that would be really fun. See, cranking the piglins all the way up and cranking your sword all the way down. Like, see how tough you can make it. I mean, I think
I,
there is, still the difficulty options that I've only seen like one person use online. But, this really allows not just changing difficulty, but changes everything. I mean, like we said, really mixes it up, making those unique experiences. And I can totally see some influencer saying, "Okay, in my run through, I'm going to crank the world size slide all the way down. We're going to see how close we can put these bastions together." And I can see, like other people following along and making their worlds look, similar and just really fun.
yeah, and I would just want to add though the one these are all awesome changes. But the one change I would love to see is a mirror map option. Maybe
Mm,
we'll get that in a future update, but um, I would love to see that. I would love to see an option that basically whatever generates on one side of the map generates mirrored on the other side, and that way you have equal resources at equal distances, and the players are starting on equal ground. Um, but that is, I only throw that in there just because I
mm-hmm.
feel like that would be the next big, huge change that they could make to maps that I would love to see. But I'm gonna be honest, that's just that's a little that's that like little thing in my heart that I since day one I've always wanted that
Well,
change.
for
But
sure. Well, and this change of being able to customize the world, like, gets you so close. Like, it makes you be able to, really make it closer to other players. But I would love the other map options. Now, I know changing these sliders, it's just, random number. I mean, it's still, this isn't the way to, make worlds the exact same. And something that came into my head was, what about preset worlds? Like, you change up these sliders,
yeah,
and it would still make things randomized. But if there was, okay, we have regular campaign mode option, and then we have, the old saves are other worlds of campaign. So we have the create new, we have the what we already have, we have the custom world option. Well, what if we were to just add another option at the very end and say, you know, map one? It doesn't have to be named the Hill of Herobrine, right? It could just literally be called map one, but it is hard coded in. This spawns here, and it allows at least something of that sort.
yeah. I mean, I always refer back to other games I've played. I remember, I think it was in the first StarCraft. You would go on, and you could put a custom game, and the custom game. I remember I designed this one that was just a square with this big like ravine in the middle, and it had a bridge that went across, and so I think I called it funnel or something. But you could make that map, and other people could download that map and play that map. And then if they wanted to play a custom game, you went on, you started a custom game, you put that title of the custom map in the title, and people would go and they would play that, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of like Pit Forge a little bit, where you have all these custom Minecraft worlds, and if you were able to do that with the maps, I think players would, people would design maps, and then they would be like, other people would be like, "Hey, I really like playing on this map,"
Right.
and then that map itself, you could get people in there, playing that that map and being like, "Oh, I really like to play diamonds," or diamonds and gold, or you could just come up with some really crafty names and have have those type of maps. So,
Well,
anyways,
and these sliders are great, but they don't allow you to change like individual blocks. I would love to
yeah,
see something like the Bedrock Editor tool, but like,
mm,
a separate installing of Minecraft Legends meant for people who just want to create, not destroy. Minecraft
yeah,
Legends is seems to be all set around destroying piglins,
yes,
but maybe a separate launch of build is kind of like these new sliders on steroids, but you're able to really change up like block for block, inch for inch.
sure, yeah, you could, yeah, that would be, yeah, that I think with that Minecraft vibe and feel, what people love about Minecraft, I think you're giving people the ability to do that. So yeah, that would be awesome.
Well, with that, should we move on to auto lure?
Yeah, auto lure. Man, I was excited about auto lure, and then I used it. Not so excited. um, I could see it being useful. I may play with it some more, but I'm just so used to hitting the buttons,
Right.
um, that it felt weird to me. So I may mess with it. Have you played it? Have you used it at all?
Now, I do believe that it is locked behind a toggle. Like, you have to turn it on. It's not just on by default. And I
Correct.
feel like this is one of those things that should be on by default. Like, why would you spawn in your mobs and just want to leave them there? Like, if you spawn them in, it's probably because you want them. And I see the potential in this. It just feels like something that should be there. I'm not sure I'm going to go out of my way to turn it on. It's just one of those quality of life things that if it helps, it helps. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I can see the potential. It's like I said, why would you spawn them in and not want them? But I mean, it works out.
Yeah, so the thing I found is when I would send my troops somewhere, and then I usually run around them and kill the piglins. It was messing with them, and they would like stop mining, and they were like confused, or like, do I go with you? Do I keep mining? I don't know what to do. Someone please tell me. Help me make my life decisions.
So
And
the auto
so
lure wasn't just affecting the ones next to the spawner.
yeah, yeah, and
Oh.
and so I I think so. I could be wrong about that.
Well, I
Um,
could see it affecting like some of the other ones around it. Like I can see that being a potential problem here with this.
yeah, so I turned it off, and again, like I said, I didn't mess with it very much because at first I thought it was going to be really cool, but it was like, I kind of like saying, hey, you guys go there, and if I want these troops, you guys come with me. So it was interesting. I may mess with it some more and do some testing. Uh, Do you do you think it's only supposed to affect the troops that you spawn in?
I mean, I would believe so, but maybe there's
Okay.
something. Now, if I'm reading the change as it's supposed to be, I mean, it says word for word has been added that makes mobs automatically follow the player after being spawned, but
Oh, okay.
so it
Well,
does it does have that being spawned, so I wouldn't think it would affect ones that you previously sent out, but a bug's a
yeah.
bug.
Just edit everything I said out.
Well, but it could be off right now. I mean, this is a brand new feature. It might just
Yeah.
have that little error right now. So,
Well, you know what? You've got me wanting to jump into a game and see if that's was really happening, or if it was, some they improved some of the AI, so it could have been that. I don't know, but this if this is what you're saying, what this will keep people from doing is stealing your troops when you're spawning them out.
Right,
Um,
yeah.
so what I have found is I'll start spawning out the first to stone, and someone will run over and they'll be like, "Hey, I love your first to stone. I'm glad you spawned them for me. Thank you so much. I'm taking them with me." And then they'll run off with like half your first to stone that you just had this, that you
Right.
just spawned in. And so this, okay, maybe that's what this is doing. And maybe I'm completely wrong. I'm okay with being wrong. I like it when I find out I'm wrong because maybe I was using it wrong. So yeah, if this is true, then this might actually be a really good feature to have. So I will check it out and maybe do a video on it.
Now, adding on to that, though, and I really am wondering how this will play out on PvP. Like, I think it's a mini angel hovering over me in campaign. It's like, no, that's not the spawner I wanted to place down. That's not the mob I wanted. Or even just the
Mm,
sake of, okay, well, I wanted 500 plank golems earlier, but now I really just want that one cobblestone golem, and this is into the
mm.
mob refund, and I just love it. You can sell off your troops and be able to make new troops with their remain. Okay, this is sounding gory, but you
They're
can
going back to the magical place from the ether. They're
right,
fine,
right,
Hal.
yeah, they're
They're
fine,
just
they're
going
fine.
there back to where they had come from.
But I love though being able. It's like, oops, I made a mistake, or oh hey, I don't want these that I had before. I want something else, and you get. I mean, you get completely paid back. You're not stranded on the deal. You don't lose money. It's like sale, sale, sale.
Yes, this is what I found today. I had a game where somebody I think was trolling me, and they filled our spawn cap with mossy golems.
Mm,
And so we had
yeah.
an army of 50 mossy golems. Now, in the past, the way I would have had to take care of this is I would have had to round all 50 golems, mossy golems up, and then I would have to take them over to my enemy's base, and then
Kill them
feed
off.
them
Yeah.
into their uh, into their arrow towers, and um, that's a lot of resources. And you know what I've also had happen in games where the person who does it will lure them all and then take them with them and
Right.
run around the map, and they'll run around you, and it's like what they're doing. They're like, haha, you can't, you can't spawn in any troops. I've got an army of moss golems, and we're gonna go,
Well,
kill stuff. So
my worry is, and you kind of like shared this story on the auto lure. It's like you spawn a whole bunch of stuff in, and they take it away from you. Well, what if you leave something like your first of stones out in the woods while you go, quick? Oh, I need a tree. I'll just leave these guys here so they don't get attacked. Right? What if someone now takes your work and like griefs it and throws it back? I mean, at least you get your resources back, but I feel like this could also be a very big troll opportunity too.
yeah, unfortunately, I've I usually do a lot of praying before I play a game, just in case, just in
Please
case there's
don't
a
be a
troll.
creeper. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think anything, and I think that's one of the reasons why Minecraft Legends is rolls things out in phases. Just because there's probably things that they're not, they can't anticipate. But yeah, I mean, you could use the auto lure to your advantage, and then yes, you could use it to troll if all your mobs are, assigned to you as they're spawned in. I do feel like there should be a ban button,
Right,
which I
sure.
I had a video on where, um, you could go into the hit escape, click on the player, and then all the other players on your team would have to approve it. So you couldn't troll and kick people off. But
A
if
voting
you're
system, yeah.
Yeah, so if everyone on your team, and you would be like, oh, wait a second, somebody is wanting to ban this other player, then they may pay attention to that player and be like, oh, they are, despawning all my improvements. They're just despawning them as fast as I'm building them. And so another player could be like, oh yeah, I approve this ban. And so then they could click on it, and then that person could then be kicked out of the game, and you could, have someone else spawn into the game and take their place. Now, that's just a thought. I'm sure there may be issues with that, but right now, if there's someone trolling, then your only option really is to just jump out of the game, or just play it out and let them have their fun, and then hopefully they don't lose you the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like the refund. I do like the refund. Normally, what happens is you spawn in a normal game before the refund. You would spawn in 60 cobblestone golems, and then you'd build up to that point where you got to the first, and you're like, hey, cobblestone golems, go visit my buddies over here. And you just go and you throw them all at the opponent's base, hoping they do some damage, but you're really just wanting them to die more than anything to free up space. But now you can bring them back and you can get those resources back. And now you can apply it to building up other things, and then, building up your First Stone spawner. And so it's overall, I think, a great improvement.
Yeah. Well, unless you have anything in particular to say about structure health bars, they were first introduced in the last mini update, and we spent a good chunk of time on it on the last podcast. And this change log just basically expands upon it. It's you can now see health bars of more things like your enemies and piglins and even your own stuff.
I think it was pretty much the same stuff as we talked about last time.
Yeah.
But oh, Hound, I want to know. I want to know. Have you pet any animals
Oh
in
my
campaign mode?
gosh. This is the best change. I mean, I'm not being sarcastic right now. Like, this is so cute. This is the best change to pop up in a Minecraft changelog ever.
I
Like,
really wanted to hear about this from you because
oh
I,
man.
I have not done it yet.
Now, I mean, it's dumb, right? It's dumb. I don't think, like, when you're really out there slashing the piglins, I don't think you're gonna take an extra 5 seconds to go over and pet that pig, right? I don't see it being used that often, but the fact of knowing that it's there, that you can say, oh, isn't this cute? I mean, that's one of the things I loved about Legends from the very beginning. It was so atmospheric. I mean, there was, all the animals running around, the birds, and just the way everything was laid out. It was always so pretty. And even if you don't sit and really play the game, this is just kind of the icing on the cake for interacting with that atmosphericness.
Do you think it will be used for anything in game in the future?
Oh, never.
Uh,
people are gonna
oh, okay.
people are gonna see this changelog and say, "Oh, that's cool." They're gonna launch Minecraft Legends. They're going to go into their world, run, find an animal, pet it, and say, "Oh, that's cool." Close out, and next time they play Legends, they're gonna even forget it exists. But I think it's just cool.
So the animal doesn't follow you.
No, there's no really taming it. I mean, with all the animals, you can send a pig into a piglin bastion. It seems like a bit redundant, dog eat dog world, but you know, it's a thing you can do.
Hey, when you need mobs, you need mobs. You need. Okay, well, cool. I was hoping that maybe they're like, if you had, pet a dog, it would give you a buff, or
Right.
something,
That'd be cool.
something. Yeah, but okay, nothing
Well,
there
I mean,
yet.
and I saw this on YouTube, and it's honestly like one of those things you just want to watch just for the fact of knowledge. But I saw someone out there say, "Ooh, every new pet, mob pet animation and new," because apparently every pet now has a new animation too when you pet it, just to have that appreciation of, "Oh, I've been petted." And I saw that someone like on the second day went through and said, "I pet every mob in Legends." It's the funniest title I've ever seen for a Legends video, but
I'm just upset I didn't think of that first.
You can be the second, the first person to unpet, the first person to be mean to everyone else.
Oh no, 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 no. I'm gonna pet them and give them hugs.
You can make each and every animal a clubhouse.
Yes, that's exactly, there you go. Well, going to mob pathfinding, this is very interesting. So I'm gonna read this because I think a lot of people will be happy to hear these things.
Yeah.
Improved mob behavior around ledges and cliffs to reduce the frequency of mobs accidentally falling or getting lost. Yes, that is awesome improvement. Mobs can no longer forcibly or accidentally or on purpose push each other off ledges because you always get that one guy in the bunch. They will follow players down jumps that are within mob fall height, which is really good. I think this is overall is going to be like the Lost Legends we just played, the Crucible. Uh, I was really afraid that all my mobs were going to like jump off the ledges
Yes.
in those pools of lava. But honestly, unless they got hit by something, they did a really good job of staying where they were supposed to stay.
Yeah, we'll go.
And
We'll stick with that story for now. Yeah.
did you have a different experience?
Um. Yeah, we'll talk about it in that section for the Lost Legend section, but
Okay.
yeah, I had a slightly different experience with that one. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. We'll save that. So I overall have, the oh my gosh, the Piglin Bastions of the Spore, I think. I think that's the one that has like the multiple levels.
Right.
And I think this is a big helper there overall. I felt like I was spending more time gathering my army together than I was actually uh sieging up the bridges to victory. It was like, oh, where did everyone go? I'm by myself again.
Well, I find it so funny. Now, I mean, spoiler alert for my channel, but I'm actually like 5 videos ahead, I think, in the main campaign. So, but
Nice.
I've been working on that Horde of the Spore, and I was just so happy when I saw this in the change log. But it's one of those things. It says they will follow players' jumps that are within mob fall height. Now, I was just goofing off. I'd finished off a bastion, and it was a really tall one. And then I just went for it. I was like, you know what? I don't care. I need to get to the Well of Fate. I got some time to kill and some jokes to make. So I just went for it. I was at the very top, jumped all the way down, and it was just so funny to see them all following following me as they jumped off behind me, and it's like timber. But so I wonder, will I be able to reenact that though? Like, or do I say don't try this at home because hey, guess what? It's impossible to replicate now. I wonder how truly that'll play out though.
I don't know. I'll be interested to see in your next video. That is going to be interesting. I'll talk about this one here. This is improved creeper behavior. Um, Creepers detonate more reliably on their assigned target when given orders by the player.
Aw man.
I have a short called Creepers Taking a Break. And they just stood there and they're like, how's it going? I'm like, go blow up!
Please.
Do what I'm telling you to do.
Well, I mean, I always make the joke because if there's something to joke about, I want to be there to do it. And it's like when you first free the creepers from the cage and they last 2 seconds, it's like you could have gotten yourself out of that cage. Like this wasn't a problem.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. One of you has to sacrifice yourself. You can get out
We
of the
can
cage.
do this. We can do hard things.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's such a good catch. I didn't even catch that. Oh. But yeah, so I have had a lot of good luck, not good luck, but a lot of success with creepers in my last couple games. I have been using them a lot more, especially early game for harassment. They do have to have like other troops around them to get to their destination, or you have to send a whole huge group of them. But overall, they are blowing up on what I'm telling them to blow up on, and that's a lot better than what happened where they would run up and explode early, or they would run up and just stop. So this was definitely definitely makes the creeper a more valuable and resourceful tool to use in the PvP games and versus mode.
Right, yeah. Now, this next one, and I'm curious what you think about it, because I honestly find it weird, but they improved the visibility of resources. And I mean, that's quite literally what it says. They glow and gleam. It's not just like, oh, hey, there's something red on the ground. I think it's redstone. Like, they're having an entire light show. It's like, get the music, get the stage. I mean, and it's like, okay, that's cool, but it's like, here's a nice flat world. Oh, there's some grass, some more grass, and hey, that red thing. I bet you that's resources. Like, I feel like this was so unnecessary. Like, you can't see it any better than what you could. It's just now it's white, and it's like, what ore is that? I think it was redstone, but now I can't even see its texture anymore. So I'm on the fence about this one. I see the
Huh.
point, but I'm not sure about it.
Yeah, I would say maybe if you added a color to the glow, so you
Right.
knew from a distance that, oh, there's a a stack of no like a black glow and a red glow and
Like right now they
a,
all glow
a
light,
brown.
and it's like,
Yeah,
okay, it's either diamonds or it's coal.
right, right. And so other than diamonds, which is always in the snow area, and then I mean, usually redstone is in the swamps, but it's the coal and the iron that is
Right.
the harder ones to find because those are both in the plains area together. So I see that, but if they added a color to the glow, that I think that would be more helpful overall. But at the same time, yeah, I'm kind of with you. It's neither here or there. I never had a problem finding the
Right,
resources.
right.
I would normally run around with my resource queued in the hotbar, and I would just press it until it finally went from a red box to a blue box. And then
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that resource is here. Okay, drop the box. And then it will tell you how many resources uh, that box will gather down in your bar. So you can go around and you hit a spot and it's like 10 coal. And you're like, that's not enough. And then finally you get one that says 150 and then you drop your box. So that's one of the things I did in the past. The glow only helps me to get to it. I still have to use the box to find out if this is a good place to put your box or not.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see how that one plays out, I guess.
Definitely. Do you want to take the player empowerment improvements?
Sure, and this one I think is a bit interesting. So they reduced fall damage, so players, their mounts and their mobs fall a greater distance before taking fall damage. Now, I like this one. Some of those river valleys, when you're walking across a straight line, and you might not necessarily be intentionally jumping off the Horde of the Spore platforms, but going into those river valleys, and now that I actually think about it, that I've been playing the game longer, could have just put a ramp across that. Never even crossed my head. But I always was one to say, hey, there's water down there, but then missed the
Yes.
water. So here I was, it's like, well, that's not what I meant to do. There's not even a piglin in sight, and here I am half dead. It's like, go team. So I am happy to see this one.
Yes, yeah, that's I too also have problems of falling. The one block that's sticking out in the
Hmm.
water is always the one I hit. It's like, yeah, but yeah, so yeah, this is I think good stuff just overall in itself, and um
Are you ready for a tongue twister?
sure.
Speedy Mason. The amount of time in between Mason's masonry thingy, the tower thingy, the Mason thingy does less time, but not while upgrading the tower thingy. So you have less time, but the same amount of time using the masonry. What do you think of that?
So I had no clue until I watched your video about this and you address this, and so it's that the tower itself will upgrade, and the time between that tower finishing and the next tower starting is shorter.
Yeah. That's
Okay,
the
so yeah.
boring way of putting it. No.
Yeah. Yes, I liked your tongue twister. That was interesting. That was a more interesting way to say it. Uh, you know, I'm torn honestly with the stonemason. Uh, some maps I will go in there and take the stonemason out, and I'm sure people think I'm trolling or whatever. But if a map does not have a huge area of stone, if it only has three or four pillars, I don't want anything at the base being upgraded to stone. I want all that stone being used for improvements or cobblestones. It's such a precious resource, and there's been some games that have been long games because no one can build a improvement hub because there's no stone, and so I I get it. I'm sure there's a use for it, but I think that whole stonemason thing, and maybe in campaign it's different because you're facing mostly piglins, but against other
Yeah.
players, you're if you're investing resources in stone buildings, I feel like you've given up arrow towers for to improve an arrow tower that's it's going to get demolished by the first of the
Right.
stone and are the first of the oak. It's just they're gonna crumble like paper mache. So
Well,
if the stone was a beefier, like if it was like, oh man, you really got to put 10 shots into this, uh, that would be worth it. But I think the difference is 1 shot wood and 2 shots stone. It just doesn't seem like the investment to me personally. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're listening to this podcast and you're like, this dude's crazy. Let me know in the comments below. I know I may be partially crazy, but put
typical
it in the
Tuesday.
comments below and let me know. Do you use a stonemason? Are you pro stonemason or are you anti stonemason?
Well,
Let's
actually,
make.
here's the thing. Now, I have a couple side tangents to go down, but I'm gonna start with I don't hate this. Like, if you're gonna use it, it now helps. Although this isn't the Mason upgrade I'm looking for. Now, here's the thing. I have started using the stonemasons because, well, in my main campaign, I just encountered and finalized the beast, and that thing whacks hard. I really needed something tougher than wood, and it did actually help. So in campaign, I think it might be better than PvP.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know now what's out there. I'm unlocking bosses left and right, so I have started going around and upgrading my previous stuff to masonry. Well, I got the resources, of course, so it's no big deal. But why say this isn't the mason thing we're looking for? Either you need to make it lightning fast, or something needs to change. And oh, I got a fun video to talk about. I went to defend the creepers. I'm not even sure any piglins showed up. The game crashed on me. But at any rate, so I, had just upgraded the masonry to stone, or, put the masonry down at the creeper uh, outpost, or whatever. And I actually left. It was in the middle of a raid, and I just downright left. It's like, this is going too slow. The towers can take care of it. And I just left. So, well, when I came back, which was a good, maybe 4 or 5 minutes later, the masonry hadn't done anything. I don't think it works unless you're
Oh
in the
no.
view. And it's like, well, wow, this did nothing. So glad I put it
Oh
here.
my gosh. So it has to load the chunk.
Right. So this is a great Mason
Oh.
update. It'll make more things turn into stone faster, but the key word is while you're there. So I would
Uh.
love to see a change to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we talked about one of your bases getting overrun, and we don't think the structures worked.
Right, right. Well, and
So
here's more proof.
yeah, yeah, I think that adds to our um, speculation last time. Well, if we're gonna talk about mob combat, well, that's the next section. They have uh, The combat effectiveness of player mobs and piglin units have been updated. These changes were done to make each unit more unique and effective on the battlefield and to better highlight the differences between each unit. Players now find that individual golems have more unique roles on the battlefield, and players will have to be more careful that they pick the right mob to counter specific piglin units and structures. Wow, well that's a mouthful.
Here's the thing. I think that this is neat, but now you gotta tell us what mobs are best for what. Like you can't just say, "Oh, by the way, we've nerfed some mobs attacking other things." Like tell us what can different mobs do with different piglins? Just tell us.
Yeah. And so I think as far as the piglins go, you've got your attack mobs, you got your ranged mobs, and then you've got your smashers, what I call them. So the cobblestones and the villagers, the zombie villagers. So you've got those guys, and they're gonna do what they do. I've noticed that they're doing it better, and so I don't know if that's some of the things that have been changed in here overall. Uh, but I have noticed that I'm not as frustrated with my mobs in game as I was before.
Hmm.
So that may tie into some of the AI changes. I'm not sure, but uh, I you'd have you seen any? Have you gone into a battle and lost it because you had the wrong mobs countering the wrong piglins?
Not really. Maybe it's because I somehow managed to lose them all, or maybe it's just because I don't know better. But it hasn't really affected me.
I was gonna say I think the skeletons are OP, and I think I mean if I have a chance to go to skeletons, it's skeletons, and then
Mm-hmm.
they're just I haven't really seen that change other than the update to the Pigdillo that we talked about last time.
Yeah. Now, I'm excited to hear what you have to say about the next one, because personally, I play on keyboard and mouse, and I like the button Q. But I've seen in your videos that you do use the banner view. So what do you think of the new pathfinding changes to how your mobs respond when, using the banner view, and how that represents their moving?
Oh yeah, I think it's great. I would say, and if this is all right with you, I'll give a shout out here to Epic Forge. They are also a YouTuber who does Minecraft videos, and they are incredible at this using this banner view. I actually was watching them take out a piglin horde, and they're in banner mode, sending their piglins. The second that building explodes, they're bam to the next one, and
Wow.
it's actually it's actually pushed me to use that mode more, and it's great. I really think it's overall a been a great improvement, and I think it does help you to feel like you're able to control your mobs during an attack um, in a bigger area. So you're not like, oh, hey, I've got to get right up here up front and get, shot in the face by the first of oak. Why and then my first of stone are just standing there doing nothing, being taken out and dying. So yeah, this is giving you more distance to interact with your mobs and send them somewhere. Uh, so overall, it's a great improvement, great change. Just, keep making these kind of changes to the pathfinding and to the ability to control your troops. And I think those are all just right steps in the right direction.
Yeah. Now, for the record, I will try and link that person in the description, and I'm honestly excited to check out to see that workflow with the banner view. So, thank you for
Yeah,
bringing that
yeah,
one up.
yeah. They do a really good job.
Now, I know I always like when at the end of a game, you can't just leave, but you gotta have a special title. What do you
Yeah.
think of the versus mode titles at the end of the match?
I'm just waiting for the one that says you died the most.
I would love that.
You successfully took. It looks like you took a nap accolade.
He
Uh,
took a nap.
you were the weakest link on your team.
May have left.
Uh,
May have.
yeah. No, I'm kidding. No, these are great. I would love to see them as Easter eggs, and I would love to see you be able to, hey, this guy, like when you view someone's profile, if you were able to see that they've, got the best Fantastic Fortifier or Prismarine Pillager. So you're going to a game, just some kind of like badge or something, where these accolades meant something. Like, oh, they've achieved this Easter egg, which could be like they did this 10 times, and so if you made it something useful for the other players on the team, to know what you're good at, I think that would be really neat to see and make these accolades even more valuable overall to in-game play.
Yeah, for sure. Now, with that thing though, like having, you know, what the title that you were awarded at the end show at, like, maybe the beginning of the match, that'd be something cool to see along with, now that you're able to choose, say, hey, what you want to do in the game. Like, these could kind of, your idea and the change could kind of go hand in hand. So I just thought that was
Yeah.
cool, how similar those were.
Yeah, so another thing I do at the end of a game, I will look at who won the accolades and I will friend them on so I'm like, okay, you're
You're a good
active,
player.
you're a good player. You did you did good during the game. So I'll send them a friend and request, and then hopefully because my goal right now is to build that up so that I can get into games with active players who are looking to play the game well. So yeah, I mean you might even find people that specialize in building really cool bases,
Right,
and
yeah.
or you might find Epic Forge who's really good at getting the Prismarine, and you can know that going into the game. Or you can know the opposite, where someone shows up and they're like have zero accolades of pillaging, and you're like, you know what? I'll take this one.
Nice. On to a couple of the others, trying to flow through them fast. The UI improvements. If you actually go and check out everything that we've talked about or will be talking about, you'll see all the new UI changes. But something in the fixes that I thought was kind of interesting. Number 3, LAs no longer get stuck building steep ramps. Have you ever just walked through your world and then say, oh, that's an old bastion, you go and explore it, and one that you've already destroyed, and you see a floating LA on the ramp. Well, that happened to me, and it was just sitting there.
Oh,
It's like one of the first bastions I destroyed in my campaign, and oh, there's an LA just sitting there. Well,
and so they don't go back into your pocket.
here's the thing. I went as far as to deconstruct the ramp, and my LA number didn't change. I don't know if I am missing an LA now. I'm not sure what's up with that, but I did just kind of see an LA hovering a ramp. So I don't know if that
Huh.
fixes that, but hey.
Yeah, I've never had that. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to get some milk jugs, put a picture on there, says missing a
Missing.
leg.
Come
Have you
home.
seen? No more of that. So that's good.
The prologue is faster. Yay! Game text. The prologue objective message better guides the player, and with this, there are objective beacons. Now, I don't know, I'm guessing this isn't in PvP, but in the campaign, maybe it's screaming at you, you have a bastion over here, this village needs saved, do this, do that. But in your world, there's always just one beacon, and it's always mainly that center structure, whatever it's called, the Well of Fate. There we go, the Well of Fate. Well, now you can see the Well of Fate from anywhere, but now there's other beacons in the distance. Not only does it say, hey, we want you over here, but it even shows you where here is, which is pretty nice.
Awesome.
And the player compass is that thing on top, of course, and those objectives now also, they never disappear. Like if you're facing the wrong direction, it'll still show you where those objectives are, which is kind of nice. I mean, if you're out doing your own thing, it's like, oh, why is this thing staying here, and why is there a beacon on my screen, right? I can see it being annoying, but it does actually help you know what you're supposed to do.
Interesting. So that's in campaign mode.
Yeah, I guessing it's not. There's nothing there for. Is there any objectives in PvP? No, I don't think.
No, other than yeah, you tell the players what you want done. So that's more back in the communication section. You can put markers on the map, but
Right.
that's changed a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna have to actually probably get in there and take a look now that we're talking about it. I'm like, can you put? Now I'm starting to wonder if can you put beacons? Can you put beacons on resources?
Well, with that though, I think that is everything in the changelog. The changelog is in the description. Now, throughout the this podcast here, we may have mentioned talking about the legend, the I can pronounce this. Here we go. Crucible. There we go.
The Crucible. Yes.
Yeah, first
yes.
try. I can remember words that I Google translated the other day. Yeah, we can do this. Okay. uh, if we have mentioned talking about the Lost Legends, the Crucible, we are still going to do that, just not in this podcast due to the length. We are splitting this one up. So check back very soon for yet another podcast episode. If I knew what number podcast this was, I'd say what the next one is. But hey, a number comes after a number. And this is the outro. We'll talk about what we're doing in our channels in the next podcast. Because hey,
See you there.
adios.